Welcome, hello, my name is Bobby Rudman. I will be reading William Shakespeare Macbeth, retold by Marcia Williams. So let's get started. In which Macbeth hears a prediction. On a foul, bleak night, rain lashed across the Scottish heath, and through the roaring thunder and crackling lightning came an unearthly cry. When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain? When the hurly-burly's done, came the answer. When the battle's lost and won. Where the place? Upon the heath. There to meet with Macbeth, said a third voice. The following morning, the beating of a drum could be heard across the same bleak landscape. Closer and closer it came to the place where the unearthly cries had been heard. The drum beat herald Macbeth and Banquo, two Scottish generals returning home in Inverness. They had just defeated an army of rebels who had risen against Macbeth's cousin, King Duncan. Few had ever seen such courage as the two generals had shown in the battle. It was said that Macbeth had vanquished his sword with such speed that it smoked with the blood of his enemies. Certainly both men were so stained with blood that even the pouring rain could not remove it. So foul and fair a day I have not seen, shouted Macbeth against the storm. Suddenly, as if from nowhere, three weird creatures rose out of the gloom. Both men stopped in their tracks. What are these, so withered and so wild in their attire? Gasped Banquo. The creatures seemed to be women, but they had beards. Were they real, or were the generals imagining them? Are you aught that man may question? Asked Banquo. He had heard that there were witches living on the heath who could tell you your future. The three witches, if that is what they were, put their bony fingers to their skinny lips, as if to silence Banquo. They turned to Macbeth. All hail Macbeth! Cried the first. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis! Macbeth was taken aback. The first witch had addressed him correctly, but how did she know who he was? All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor! Said the second, which was strange, as he was not the Thane of Cawdor. Strangest of all was the third witch's greeting. All hail Macbeth! Thou shalt be king hereafter. Maybe these were more than just greetings. Maybe these were prophecies. Banquo was excited at the possibility and asked the witches to look into the seeds of time and say what his future held. Thou shalt get kings, though thou be done. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo, said the witches. With that, they disappeared like bubbles into the chilly air. Whither are they vanished? Asked Banquo, amazed. Macbeth gave no answer, for already his mind was consumed with the idea that he might one day be King of Scotland. Moments later, news arrived, sent from King Duncan. The king had made Macbeth Thane of Cawdor, in honour of his great victory. The two generals stood stunned. The witch's first prediction had come true already. Macbeth turned to Banquo. Do you not hope your children shall be kings, when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them? He asked. Banquo smiled at his friend. He was more cautious than Macbeth, and less swayed by ambition. And he warned Macbeth that such creatures of the dark might have evil intent. They could be trying to trick Macbeth into some deed that would have dire consequences. But Macbeth brushed away the warning. In the days that followed, Macbeth could think of nothing but the crown of Scotland that would sit on his head when he was the king. How soon would that be, he wondered. Should he be doing something to make sure it happened? No, he thought to himself. If chance will have me king, why chance may crown me without my stir. But the seed of ambition had been sown by the three witches, and ambition is an evil master. Dark thoughts began to stir in Macbeth's mind. thoughts of ways he could hasten the day of his coronation. When Macbeth and Banquo finally arrived at the palace, King Duncan could have not have greeted them any more warmly or with more gratitude of their great bravery. "O worthless cousin, welcome hither," he cried. "I have begun to plant thee and will labour to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart." Such a greeting from the king would have swelled the hearts of most men, but not Macbeth's. For shortly afterwards, King Duncan named his son Malcolm heir to the throne of Scotland. This was the honour that Macbeth had been hoping to receive. "Stars hide your fires," Macbeth muttered to himself. "Let not light see my black and deep desires." King Duncan went on to say that he would visit Macbeth's castle at Inverness. Again, Macbeth should have been pleased by this honour, but now he was consumed by the desire to be king, and all he could think about was that Malcolm now stood in his way. Maybe he could not rely on chance to make him king. Maybe he would have to give chance a helping hand. Macbeth couldn't wait to tell his wife all that had happened, so he sent a letter ahead to her. Her excitement grew as she read it, for she was even greedier for power than Macbeth. She could already see the golden crown of Scotland on her husband's head. Macbeth was ambitious, but he had a sense of honour. Lady Macbeth was quite ruthless, and only honoured power and ambition. She was capable of destroying anyone who stood in her husband's way. By the time Macbeth reached his castle, Lady Macbeth was already plotting King Duncan's death. When she greeted Macbeth, she saw that his thoughts had also turned to murder, but she was worried by his lack of cunning. "Your face, my Thane, is as book where men may read strange matters," she warned him. "Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it." Their talk was interrupted by the arrival of King Duncan and his two sons, Prince Malcolm and Prince Donalbain. The king was delighted by the sweet air round the castle, and by Lady Macbeth, who appeared so charming and welcoming. But Lady Macbeth was secretly urging her husband to kill him that night. In preparation for the evil deed, Lady Macbeth drugged King Duncan's two guards, who lay beside the king as he slept. Now that murder had become a reality, Macbeth was agonizing over it. King Duncan was a good and gentle man, and a guest in Macbeth's house. It was his duty to protect the king and not to murder him. "We will proceed no further in this business," he told his wife. "If we should fail—" "Screw your courage to the stickling place, and we'll not fail," Lady Macbeth scorned. So swayed by his wife, Macbeth reluctantly agreed to murder the king as he lay in bed that night. Lady Macbeth's evil heart swelled with satisfaction as she retired to her chamber to await the time. Thank you for joining me, Bobby Rudman, on part 1 of Macbeth. It was very enjoyable, written by, obviously, William Shakespeare himself, but retold by Marcia Williams. They are her drawings, and it is written and illustrated very well, and I really, like I say, really enjoyed telling the part 1 story so far. If you want part 2, just let me know by subscribing down there and hitting the little bell, and it will notify you as soon as the number part 2 will be uploaded. Thank you for joining me, and I hope this can help you with your essays or any projects that you're doing with Shakespeare, or even if you're a new actor to the workplace and you're finding it hard to break down and understand certain parts of Shakespeare. I hope this can help you too. Take care. Bye now.